Hello everybody! Today I'm going to show you how you can turn a big thrifted shirt into a skirt and bralette set. That's today on Refashioning with Rachel. First, cut the sleeves off of your shirt and set them aside for later. Next, draw in a straight line right underneath the collar and cut. Decide how long you want your skirt to be, add 1/2 inch for seam allowance, and draw a straight line that distance away from the bottom of the shirt. Then take your waist measurement, divide it by 4, add 1/2 inch, and make a mark that distance away from the center on the line you just created. Connect those marks with the bottom corners of the shirt and cut. Set aside the top of the shirt for later. We will be needing that fabric. Now place your skirt pieces with right sides together. Pin along the sides starting at the bottom. And sew. Start sewing at the bottom of the skirt so you can make sure the hems are perfectly lined up. Now serge or zigzag the raw edges. If you use a serger, leave a tail at the bottom of the skirt and use an embroidery needle to feed the tail back through the stitching. Press the seams with an iron so it looks nice and neat. And now we have a nicely finished skirt and we barely had to do any work. We will be putting in a waistband in a little bit, but for now let's turn to the sleeves. Remove the cuffs and cut along the underarm seam. You may want to iron these so they are easier to work with. Lay them on top of each other with right sides together. And now you will need to print out and cut out your pattern pieces for the bralette. I have included a free PDF in the description box, so you can just download them directly from there. And if you want to donate to my channel by giving me a super thanks, that would be very much appreciated. But only donate if you want to. You can download the pattern for free either way. There are no seams included in the pattern. This makes it a much more versatile pattern, but you will need to remember to add seam allowance when you cut out your pieces. We need 4 pieces of the side cup and 4 pieces of the center cup, and be sure to add 1/2 inch of seam allowance all around the outside. And try to conserve as much of the fabric as possible. We will be using the scraps. So because I was cutting through 2 layers at a time, I now have 4 of the center cup and 4 of the side cup. To be able to tell them apart since they look rather similar, cut in a little notch on the bottom of the center cup pieces. Now match up each of the side and the center cup pieces with right sides together and pin along the curve. And then sew all of these together along the curve. Clip in some notches around the curve. This will help the cup lie more smoothly. Iron the cups open by gently ironing along the curve. And let's set these aside for now and make some straps. To make the straps, just use the scrap fabric that we cut off the side of the skirt. We want to save the bigger scraps for something else. So cut out a bunch of 1.5 inch wide strips of fabric. Another good place to harvest fabric for this step is the back of the neck yoke. We are going to need enough strips of fabric to make 2 neckties that are each roughly 25 inches long. Pin the ends together. And sew. Iron the seams open. Then fold the strip in half with right sides together and make a stitch 1/2 inch away from the fold. And then to turn them right side out, use an embroidery needle and some very strong thread. Catch a knot around one end of the strip and feed the needle backwards through the strip until you get to the other end, and gently pull to pull the strap right side out. And then iron them so they look a little bit nicer. Now grab your stack of Bralette cups and choose two that have the piece with the little notch facing each other. Pin a strap to the top of each cup with the right side of the strap facing the right side of the cup. Now pin the other cups to the cups that have the straps on them with right sides facing and with the notched pieces lining up. Pin together on the sides. And sew. Feel with your finger through the layers of fabric where the strap is. And when you get to the strap, pivot the needle, then sew across the strap, and then pivot the needle again and sew down the other side. Trim off the top point and turn the cups right side out. Iron the sides of the cups, first by ironing the seam open, and then carefully ironing the sides. Now let's make a waistband for the skirt. Measure and cut some 4-inch wide strips of fabric. We need enough fabric to make a strip that is as wide as your waist measurement plus about 2 inches. Here I'm just cutting off a little bit of fabric that had a blemish on it. Pin the ends together and sew. Iron the seam open. Then fold down a 1/2 inch from the top of the band and iron. Fold down a 1/2 inch from the other side of the band and iron. Then fold the whole strip in half, lining up the folds, and iron. Open up your skirt so that it's easier to work with. Working on the wrong side of the skirt, pin the right side of the waistband to the wrong side of the skirt, lining up the raw edges, and allowing about an inch of the waistband to hang off the sides of the skirt. And so, make the stitch in the fold we created with the iron. Then turn the skirt over to work on the right side of the skirt. Trim off the excess fabric of the waistband so just half an inch is remaining. Then fold the waistband on itself with right sides together, lining up the folds, and make a stitch just on the outside of the button placket. I drew a line here to make it more clear exactly where the stitch should go. Then turn the band right side out, use something pointy to poke out the corner, and the waistband should be nicely finished at the ends. Do the same thing on the other side of the waistband. Then, working on the right side of the skirt, sew the waistband down, making the stitch close to the fold, and making sure the folded edge of the waistband goes slightly over the previous stitching line so it is not visible. Use an iron to make the waistband flat. Now all that's left to do on the skirt is to add a button and a buttonhole at the top. You can harvest a button either from the cuffs or sometimes they're at the bottom of the shirt. And make the buttonhole however your sewing machine likes to do it. And now we need to make a band for the bralette. So from your remaining scraps, cut out a bunch more 4-inch wide strips of fabric. We need enough fabric to make a strip about twice the length of your waist measurement. Once you have a nice pile of strips of fabric, sew all the ends together to make one long strip. And then, just like with the waistband, iron open the seams Fold down and iron 1/2 inch from the top and from the bottom. And then fold the whole thing in half and iron. Hold the bralette up to your body and decide if you need to bring the cups a little closer together. I decided to overlap them about 1/2 inch, although I do adjust this at the end, as you will see. Then, working on the wrong side of the bralette, find the center of the band you just made and pin the right side of the band to the wrong side of the bralette in the center, lining up all the raw edges at the bottom. And then continue to pin all along the bottom of the bralette cups. And so. Make the stitch in the fold we just created with the iron. At each of the ends of the strap, fold it in half with right sides together and make a stitch 1/2 inch away from the end. Then turn the strap right side out. Tuck in the folded edges and pin it in place, all the way down the band. And then, working on the right side of the bralette, pin the band to the cups, making sure the fold goes just past the previous line of stitching, so that it won't be visible. And then sew all along this folded edge of the band. But unfortunately, I absent-mindedly did not hit record, so I don't have footage of me sewing it. But it is a very similar process to sewing on the waistband. Then give the band a nice press with the iron. Finish off the neck straps by tying the ends in knots and trimming off the excess. And for one final adjustment, after trying on the bralette, I decided I wanted the cups to be closer together, so I played around with pinning it and decided to add a stitch that tapers closer to the top. And now this project is finished. So here's a reminder of how it looked before. And here's how it looks now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did, and check out some of my other videos, and have a beautiful day.